and welcome to this channel. I am Kouki, and today I would love to share with you my personal forecasting, or say personal understanding on what could possibly happen in the next 2 years regarding the global shift, like any kind of shifts in the global context. And so this is more of a meta level thinking kind of a video, and also global perspectives, yeah, kind of a video. Okay. And this video I would divide it into 6 parts. So the first one would be economy, second education, the third one health, like healthcare, and fourth one is technology, fifth environment, and the sixth one would be the international affairs. So yeah, so if you are interested in any of these topics, you can even jump right into it in the timestamp below, and let's get right into it. Okay, so for the economy, like how do I actually see it is that the economy that we are currently experiencing as a collective, because it is a global thing, right? We're so interconnected in the financial context, the trading, everything is just kind of like entangled together. And it is not good or bad in a sense. Personally, that there's no good or bad, it's just what it is, right? And what is happening right now is the economy is so affected by geopolitics, and people are just quite cautious with how they invest in their how should they invest, and not even talking about investment now, it's more about how can they take the cash back right, to turn it back into cash, because a lot of the investments could be really how to say it, like trapped in various circumstances and not being able to liquidate. So yeah, that's the situation right now. A lot of people are experiencing. And when it comes to stock market, personally, I am not in favor of that, nor I'm in general very in favor of money in a sense, because I'm pretty neutral when it comes to money. I see it as a tool. So if you have ever watched some of my videos in the past, I've actually talked about it already when it comes to what is money, like the understanding of money. And there's an entire video on it. So it's the name of the title of the video is called The Understanding of Money. So if you're interested, please go to that video. So what I do want to talk about is when it comes to investment, it would be personally, that's how I see it. It would be better not to invest in anything for the next 2 years, because the economy for this year is already quite not so auspicious, right? It is not in a very good state. And actually for the next 2 years, how I personally see it is that it's gonna be even more troubling. Okay, it is not going to be more peaceful, but it could be more chaotic. So it would be better to not invest into anything yet, because it would, like the price would still go down. Okay, like it would keep go down until at least 2028. So that is why it's better to keep the capital. Okay, if it's better to save up the capital for now, because there is a potential new currency that could come out in the market in the next 2 years, a new kind of currency. So save up capital for that, because you could then exchange for that new currency. Okay, new type of currency. it is how I personally see it is that it is a currency that would be more for the greater good of humanity in a sense, but not really just for a specific company. Okay, so an example of it would be, something like a currency co-created or regulated by BRICS, BRICS, BRICS. Okay, so this could be one type of a way that this kind of new currency could come up in the market, and so that's why I said it might be better not to invest in anything right now, because all the market prices would just literally go down in the next 2 years. That's how I see it. So save up your capital for the new currency. Okay, like that's how I see it. Now that's for economy. And for education wise, what I do want to share is the shift in education, the climate of education, because right now you see a lot of the institutions, they are very focused on the systematic way of teaching. So it's kind of like you have to follow this syllabus, you have to go through this, like you have to do internship, you have to do thesis, you have to have how many kind of credits, only then you would be able to be admitted to something or to be able to graduate it, right? There are so many different kinds of structures, but they are all in a way more or less rigid, right? So that's academia. That's the current current overview of how the academia is like, right? The structure. So in the next 2 years, there might be a shift in such a setting of learning, of education, which is there would be more a shift towards like leaning towards natural way of teaching, like natural learning methods. So that would be catering to the intrinsic ways of how humans actually learn. Okay, but not actually stuffing things into their head or try to push people using competition. Because competition is good in certain contexts, but it is actually not good if it bring about stress. Like stress that is like overly stressed, okay? So that would be kind of a shift in the educational ways from really rigid academia to natural learning methods that would fit humans, fit children to learn naturally and intrinsically. Let me give an example. An example would be how the school systems for kids, the kids would not be learning in classrooms as much. They would be going on a lot of field trips. They would be actually learn about hands-on things, such as learning about plants in a garden and not actually from the textbooks, looking at pictures and words. So because if it's from textbook, it would be more of a systematic approach and more about like hard knowledge, right? But if it's in a garden, there's the kids can actually touch and see and smell the plants, and at the same time they would be taught what these plants are, what are their names, what are their usage. It could be herbs, right? How can we use them? And so it's through demonstration and allowing the kids to be able to observe the situation, to be able to interact with the target studies, the target subjects would then form into even better learning experiences and learning outcomes. So this would be quite a shift in the way how the educational system could be formed in the next 2 years. So it would not be already formed after 2 years. It's just there would be a tendency towards that in the next 2 years. So let's see. Okay, that's how I foresee that. Now, when it comes to the third one, which would be health, the health part that I would like to share here is that right now, for us, if we have any kind of disease or illness, we would go to the hospital, right? And it's quite a huge cost, because if you don't have insurance, you would have to pay a lot. But even if you do have insurance, you do already have to pay a lot for the insurance, right? It's kind of like, yeah, it's not a win-win situation anyways, huh? So, and on top of that, if the government, wherever you are in the world, if the government is not able to provide healthcare for you, for the residents, for the citizens, it would be, you might have to wait for a long time to be able to be treated, right? And there could be a lot of delays in the healing process, right? Delaying the healing process could be quite detrimental to anyone's health. And so when it comes to healthcare, we might see there would be a shift in the healthcare system, or say how people would take on new healing methods, rather than just sticking with the traditional ways of healing. So what I mean by traditional ways of healing in this context that I'm talking about would be through technology, okay, through actual surgery, medicines, taking pills, or even chemos for cancers, okay, for all these kind of technological medical advancements or approaches to healing any kind of disease. So the shift in that would be, there are many more alternative healing methods relating to energy healing, spiritual healers, such as example would be, what is that called? Reiki healers. Also, people might be using crystals. People might be using even mantra healing. Even when it comes to herbal. No, so these are all actually, these are not woo-woo things, because they have existed for long before even the technology arose. But I mean, some people might think, well, that's exactly why, because we need technology to replace those woo-woo things, right? I understand your standpoint, but the thing is, our ancestors might actually know better than us in that particular context, because when it comes to healing, we are all part of nature. So when we're in tune with nature, our bodies being tuned back to align with nature, we're healthy. And we are all composed of energy, right? Matter is all about energy. If you study physics, you know about it. Even chemistry, biology is all about energy, right? So for all kinds of alternative healing methods, they are all dealing with energies. Even when it comes to Reiki healing, they're dealing with energy. So that's a universal life force in a sense, right? Reiki healers are dealing with universal life force. And life force is how we can stay alive and how we have the stamina. It is not actually just from our body, this meat vessel, right? This meat suit is more of how we get so energized spiritually. Only then, on this physical level, it would manifest in a healthy state of being, of mind, of skin, of the organs working perfectly fine. Okay, so this is actually this is the result. Whatever you see on the physical level is the final result of how healthy you are spiritually. Okay, the life force being channeled down in. So that's what could be seen as a shift in the next 2 years when it comes to health, where more spiritual healers would come out as spiritual doctors in a sense, and more people might be more inclined to trying that out, to trying these kind of new ways of healing, such as Reiki, herbal, like Ayurveda in India, right? Even for Ayurveda is a very ancient, traditional way of natural healing. Ayurveda, I think the caption, the subtitles would be able to catch it up, Ayurveda. And that's for India. And for China, they also have their own Chinese medicine system using different kinds of herbs, right? So yeah, these are all the ancient ways of healing, and they are still greatly prevalent in China, for their traditional healing system. And in India, Ayurveda, same. They are all this system is also very active in India. And even in other cultures, in Africa, they also have their own healing system passed down from older generations, like ancient ways of healing. So these are the healing methods that would be considered as alternative when it comes to the Western way of healing, right? Western medicine. Acupuncture would be one way as well, right? This is quite well known already in the Western world, but these would be ways to become more and more dominant and popular over, like, in the next 2 years, more and more popular, including Reiki, all these kind of healing methods. So yeah, that would be for health. And for technology-wise, in the next 2 years, there would be a split between those who consciously use technology, such as AI, and those who overindulge in such technological usage. Because you see, we do live in a dualistic setting. It is true, right? So what we, as an individual, to be conscious of is observing what's happening. And there's always a duality happening. And in the context of technology, there would be a split between those who consciously use technology and those who overindulge. Okay, too dependent on technology. And this is an inevitable transition before we as humanity can come into a more balanced way of using technology. It is a process of building the bridge between conscious usage and overindulgence. It is more of like a pendulum, like balancing pendulum. It takes some time to center. So we would see that this kind of a shift, and it's already happening. I think if you have been observing or learning about the AI usage since last year, right? For these few years, but since last year majorly, you would see this momentum being built up to certain people would really reject using AI, and some people would really indulge in using AI. And this is something that we have to be conscious of for oneself and for the kids as well, because kids don't really know yet about the potential results that could bring about. If they choose to use a lot of AI in their learning, it requires structured teaching methods to incorporating AI into their studies for kids, then that has to be done by adults. And if the adults are not even aware of this, if even the adults choose to overindulge themselves in technology, there's a high chance that the kids would be as well. So that's why it is important to be clear with that, right, for all of us. And that's one of the intents that I'm sharing these messages here on YouTube. And I hope to find those who resonate with this, and also those who would also reflect and also churn out their inner understanding and share with the world as well. Because it is important to share positive feedbacks and messages to others, particularly, especially at this point in history, at this time, right? Because every single move, every single action that we take, it does contribute to the world. It could either be towards the negative side or towards the positive side. So our voices do matter, every single one of us. So use our voices wisely. That's how I see about it. Yep. So that would be for technology. It's going to be quite a split, but it is a necessary process for the pendulum to actually kind of slow down to center. But it does take time, and some people might worry about how those who utilize technology in a harmful way to other people. I personally see that it is not that much of a worry that we have to think about, because whenever there's something that could bring harm to the equilibrium, there would be another force coming up to counterbalance it. Okay, so there's nothing to worry about. It's just how nature works. If something comes up here, there would be another side coming up here. This is how duality is being set. It would be balanced out naturally. And the best thing we can do as individuals would actually be not to worry about anything. The more that we worry, the more that we choose to be in fear-based consciousness, the more that we're not actually contributing to positivity for the collective, okay, for globally. So it's more about consciously shifting ourselves towards positivity and spreading positivity. That would be actually the most beneficial thing that we can do to each other and to everyone in the world, and also to oneself. So yeah, that would be it for technology. And for environment, let me mark down. Environment, in the next 2 years, this one would be a little bit more hectic, because how I see it is that there would be a lot of flooding and also fire, like forest fire, mainly in the continent of America. And this is more of a karma thing. It's karma, and also, I'm not saying that who is doing good or bad. No, I'm not saying this. Karma is literally just, I'm talking about on a metaphysical level. There's no emotion involved. It's not that, oh, you did something bad, so now you deserve karma, or karma's a bitch. No, I don't mean it this way. Karma is basically action, reaction. Like action is karma. Karma means action, right? Action. But whenever there's any action done, there would be a reaction, cause and effect. So whatever this piece of land has done, or these people on this piece of land has done, they would have, this means their karma, okay? Karma. There would be certain effects coming back. So reactions coming back in response to what they project out, the action. This is what I meant by karma. So if any place experience a lot of natural disasters, this is the way of how that piece of land, there are two things. The first thing is to release certain energy being trapped. Okay, now the trapped energy could mean a lot of things. Say, you see, emotion is something very powerful. Emotions are powerful, right? Fear, let's just talk about fear. So powerful, it can literally consume a person, like eat up a person internally, and that person could become like paralyzed, psychologically speaking, right? You know what I'm saying? Now, so if you think about this, if there are actually many people panicking right now on a particular place, in a particular place, okay? All these accumulated emotions, right? If not being able to release, these are trapped energies, right? These are trapped energies. And so what the system is very, the system, what I mean by system, the earth system, nature is a system. This system that we call nature is very interesting, and it would actually use other ways to counterbalance this. So what would happen? It could happen as a volcanic eruption. It could even happen as any kind of disasters, earthquakes. Because these kind of movements on Earth, whenever there are certain, like tsunami or earthquakes or flooding or even tornadoes, these are actually energetic release, because they bring about chaos, right? You see, it is chaotic, right? Chaotic. But imagine when people are very upset but not being able to express it out. What would that turn into usually? Anger, right? A lot of anger, internal anger. And once in a while, what people would do when it comes to this anger is they would then release it, right? Release the anger. What would happen when they release the anger? Arguments, fights, chaos energy. So this is how nature would also express these kind of emotions through natural disasters as well. And that is why I said it is about karma. It is about karma and the state of beings of a particular place, of any place actually. And it's related to that group of people, the dynamics that they have been in would then bring about certain effects back to themselves. And that would manifest in where they are, where they live, or in their own life, their own family. So when it comes to environment, natural disasters would be an outcome, as in an effect because of that, the karma. And also apart from flooding and fire, sea level would also rise. I mean, that is something we all know. it is happening. It is happening. Sea level would also rise, but technology can actually take advantage of that. Take advantage of how sea level is rising and make use of it. It's actually there's actually a lot of potentials in that. When the sea level rises, yeah, absolutely. Turn it into opportunities. So you can even plant food on top of the water. Okay, we don't have to plant food on just land. Technology can take advantage of that. So yeah, that would be one way. There are many other ways where taking advantage of how sea level rises. That's for environment. That's it for environment. And what the last part would be international affairs. International affairs, again, it's going to be a split. I mean, you wouldn't be surprised as well, right? There's going to be a split. between the peacemaker and the chaos supporter. Okay, the peacemaker and the chaos supporter. So there would be split between these two groups of people, majorly, and it's just what it is. It's a duality. It's duality. It's a dualistic setting, right? But what we can individually do is really to be conscious of what is happening around us and try to stay centered. And also progress. And also focus on our own spiritual progress, right? The personal development in the midst of all of this. And I would love to share how to contribute to world peace as an individual. And that would be the wrap up for this video. Okay, so how to contribute to world peace as an individual, meaning that you are not in a political, you're not in any kind of political party. You're not in any way. You're just like a commoner. You're a commoner, okay? Like I am, okay? You're a commoner. Like, what can we do as an individual to contributing to world peace? Focus on yourself. Focus on living better. Focus on your quality of life. Focus on eating healthier, your diet, exercising, taking care of your body, so self-care. Focus on listening to positive messages, news. Focus on who you surround yourself with. Are these people bringing you goodness, bringing you calmness, peace? Are they good influence? Focus on how I or you personally can become a better version of myself, a person that is more agreeable, more peaceful, more helpful, but with boundaries. Okay, healthy boundaries. Focus on the kind of contents that you consume online, on YouTube, on Netflix, on anywhere on the internet, because whatever you consume, these materials or information would then go into your subconscious mind, and that would form into whatever you believe in. If you're not conscious of it, it would then become one of your beliefs in your belief system. So be conscious of whatever you take in, whatever you receive. Filter them. Be aware of that. I'm not saying that these are I'm not saying that watching the news is a bad thing. No, I don't mean it this way. It's just that be aware of whatever we consume, just as how we are conscious of whatever we eat. Like food, right? Information is also a kind of food, but it's for the brain, it's for our psyche, and it's for our mental health, right? So music, people, information, food, all of this, they constitute of who we are. They make up who we are individually. So the quality of the food, the quality of the people, the quality of life, the quality of the music that we listen to, the quality of the information that we take in, these are all the qualities that would make up our quality of living. So be conscious of that, and no need, I'm just suggesting there's no need to really keep a close eye on whatever is happening in the world, even when it comes to wars. There's no need to watch those kind of news. Well, of course, if you are in a situation where it is necessary to watch, then I understand. When it comes to your physical safety, okay, that I do understand. But if it's not even, it's not concerned about your physical safety, there's no need to really add strength to it or add more views to it. Views, F-U-E-L. You see, now how I personally perceive this kind of situation, the peacemaker and the chaos supporter, right? the more that you shout about peace, the more that the chaos supporter would be more chaotic, because it's split. The more that you oppose each other, the more that the split would be bigger. Why? The more that you reject the other side, the more that you oppose, the more that you oppose the other side, the greater the split, the greater the gap. So the way to actually close the gap, to breach the gap, is not to react, but to respond, yes, but not to react. Because a lot of people would go on the street and shout peace, we need peace, It's a movement, but I'm going to say it's actually not going to work. It doesn't work. On a metaphysical level, it doesn't work. Because the more that, this is actually F-U-E-L. The more that people do this, the more that the chaos supporter will do more. Because it's equal. Okay, it's duality. The more that you do, this will do. The more that you do, this will do. So the way to actually counterbalance it, so even it out, is not do it. Why? Because the more that you do, you're fitting the system. You're fitting the duality. You're fitting the gap. You're fitting it. The more that you do. See, if I oppose you, then this will oppose it and repel. And repel. The more you oppose, it means repelling, right? Oppose, reject means repel. So the more that you reject, the more that you shout, the more that you do, the more that this one would do as well. The more the repel would happen. So it's actually not helping the split. It's actually not helping the situation. That's why I said focus on yourself. Focus on yourself, each one of us. This is a group thing, but it's also a collective thing. But the most important thing is about turning back into oneself, turning inward, to focus on oneself. The moment that you focus on oneself, it would actually influence the people around you. Yes, it would, magically speaking, it would affect the people around you. They would see the effect of how you choose to turn inward would bring so much peace into your own life. And so when they see you being the template, and they see that, they might consider to try that out on their own. And not watching the news at all, not actually buying into this kind of media. Brainwash. So just just be aware of it, and no need to put yourself into the game that you're not even meant to play. You don't even have to play it. If you choose not to play it, you don't have to play it, right? You can simply just become an observer and live your best life out there. And some people might be like, then what about the people dying in certain countries? What about them? They're suffering. Yeah. Yes. I'm not being cold-hearted, but it's just what it is. And it is also karma. There are certain things that need to play out before it can get settled. You can't ask a person not to be angry at someone. There's no use in that. There's no way that such a person who is already so angry, that has such a stern standpoint and belief in something, to ask this person not to be angry about it or not to believe in it. We can never change the external. We cannot control other people. So the only way that we can do in situations like this is to not fit into the situation anymore. The more that you try to ask someone to stop, the more that you try to control them, they would also control you even more. You see, that's the duality. So the only way that we can do is to be non-dual, and that would cause everything to stop, to be still, That's what I mean, okay? To be still. It's not about fighting. It's about seeing beyond the reason of fighting. Okay, like what? There's no need to fight, right? But then people will be like, well, he or she wants to fight. It's not that I want to fight, but he or she is trying to attack me, so I have to defend myself, right? And then so I fight back. Sometimes fighting is not really about attack. Sometimes fighting is more about understanding we just simply have different perspectives. Yeah. And that's okay. That's it. The reason of fighting is because people can't accept that we all think differently. We have different worldviews. We have different beliefs. And that's why people start to fight. And the moment that if people do understand that, yes, we all do think differently, and we all have different kind of beliefs, and that's okay. No more fighting would be needed. That's the only thing that people have to come to realize that. But before that happen, before that can come into the happening, like an actual thing, there are certain patterns that have to play out first before it can come into a resolution, and hopefully that they can understand about this. Okay, it's just what it is. And yes, there are certain people suffering because of that, but that's just history replaying itself, and it does have to play out in a sense so to serve as a stage for the scenes to play out, and for people to make choices differently this time in this era. It's an opportunity for all of us to make different choices than before. And it's an opportunity for us to see better, to learn from history, and to experiencing what was happening in the past, but is actually happening right now again, just in a different context. But it's the same storyline. So we are here all witnessing. Some of us are witnessing. Some of us are experiencing, those who are actually in the walls. Some of us would be even not being aware of it, right? There are people living off-grid. So it's all about where we are individually and how we choose to navigate through this. And all in all, how to contribute to world peace as an individual would be focus on yourself. Love, peace, and harmony. How to be a better person. How to be more peaceful within oneself. And you would naturally become a peaceful person on the external when you have peace within yourself. So that's the message. And that's it for this video. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you find it informative and positive. And I thank you for your patience, love, and support. And I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.